Looks like we are live. Let me double check here on the phone here. Double check. Should be good.
We are live. Let me double check
Nice.
here on
Here's somebody. Make sure you guys don't have another one in the background. I can hear it echoing.
Make sure
One of you have the phone open,
another one in the background.
or is it me doing it?
Make sure one of you have the phone open.
No.
Another one in the background. Or is it me doing it?
Does Jess have it on?
No. What if you try hitting mute? Okay. Yeah, it cleared.
You did?
Terry muted and it went away.
Terry, do you have another window open? Double check just to see if you have like another browser or something. Because that's definitely you.
It is?
Double check just to see if you have like another browser.
Or if you have your phone open.
That's definitely you.
Like if you already have the YouTube, or if you're live streaming on it, because you don't have to have any of your accounts open, like you have Facebook open.
If you already have the YouTube, or if you're
We'll get that on there. Yeah, that was Terry.
In.
Excellent. Let's see who we got. Let me see here. I might have to put my glasses on. Ask me questions in the chat. I need a new banner. I want a different banner. I want the. Nope, that's not the one. Tell us who you are. That's what we're looking for. Excellent, excellent. Let's see who we got. What a month. Let's keep moving this. Absolutely, absolutely. We got a few minutes, people, friends, family, everybody. We're going to be jumping on here and showing you all kind of stuff. Start your engines. Excellent. All right, perfect. Let me see if I can get Terry back on here. Terry, can you hear us now?
Yeah, man, I'm ready to go. I found it. I apologize. There was something hidden on the other screen. I couldn't find it.
All right. I've done it before. Hey, if you're viewing in, tell us in the chat, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. I know I drove most people to YouTube. Let me know where you're at. I'll make you famous. We'll put you up here on the big screen. Casey, excellent, excellent. L1, you better believe it, L1. Outstanding. I've got somebody from Pittsburgh coming in. Because I'm going to take about a few minutes here just to let everybody jump on board. And then we'll get rolling. I got some really good stuff for you guys today. So this is going to be good. Got Raleigh. Let me see. They're starting to pop in pretty fast. I'm trying to keep up with them.
Oh, Mike, you let people from Minnesota in here? I thought you blocked them.
Okay. No, Michigan is who I would block. But being a Buckeyes fan, we're not going to bring that up. We're going to keep this positive today. So it was a tearful moment. Excellent. I got everybody. Wow, we're rolling them in. We got them from all over the world. This is awesome. North Carolina.
Emma J.
Georgia.
Well, we're letting them in from anywhere today.
Yeah, I got I might have to put my glasses on to keep up with these. Yeah, Terry, she laughed at you. Yep. Excellent. Belgium, huh? Nice. Here we go. India in the house. Very cool. Long Beach, California. We are rocking and rolling. Hi, guys. No Cali here. Yes. Got some more Californias. All right. Well, I've got I'm usually pretty punctual with these things, so we'll roll with this right now.
Let's roll. We're ready.
We're good. So, all right. Well, hey, first off, thank you so much, everybody, for taking time out of your schedules to jump on here, whether you're watching this live, which I always recommend, because a lot of the times we put these things out here because they're time sensitive. Or if you're watching a replay, you're going to want to make sure that you take this replay, watch it. Maybe you watch it a couple of times. We're going to cover a lot of stuff today. You may feel like you're going to be drinking from a fire hose, like a big one. It's going to be coming at you pretty fast. I do have a PowerPoint that I'm going to pop up for you so that you can really see some good stuff. I do want to make sure that we cover this disclaimer, and I'm going to read it out loud to you in case some of you are listening to this in your car or something like that. Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from transactions. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. The views, opinions, and claims expressed are intended for training purposes only. Personal experiences and results may vary. The recommendations, strategies, and claims set forth in this website or video are not meant to represent how well you do, guarantee, or expressly, implicitly your success as an individual. Results will vary. No income claims are guaranteed or implied. The information shared should not be used as legal advice, financial advice, investment advice, tax advice, or accounting advice. You guys good with that as well?
Yeah, man.
Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent. So real excited today. Some of you guys got to check out when Terry and I did this last week, and we tried to get Jason on here. He had a conflict of something coming up on here. And I'm actually going to take one thing off real quick. I got to hide that so I can get my head out of the way. Is what we're going to do today is cover a lot of good information. Now, I really, really feel blessed to be with these guys. Friendship just kind of developed over the last few months, and ran into these guys down in Punta Cana for the first time to meet in person with Jason and Terry, and really got the good, they were very open to helping me with a lot of this crypto stuff. I mean, I literally knew nothing primarily about anything about crypto when it came probably a year ago. I mean, I had a general idea. I opened a Coinbase account like 3 years ago, bought some Shiba Inu, and that was pretty much it. Okay. So that was my experience. And these guys, took me under their wing. Jason's answered a lot of great questions. Terry's answered a lot of great questions. So they're bringing a lot to the table that we're going to cover today and so on. So why don't we start, Terry? Why don't you just briefly introduce yourself? Then I'll take it to Jason, and then we'll pull up the PowerPoint. We'll get right into the meat of this. So tell us just a little bit background and maybe your experience in crypto.
Yeah, I take crypto very, very seriously. I've been doing it for years. I speak at quite a few crypto conferences and pro freedom conferences. I'm in love with the tech as much as I am in love with the financial opportunity that's sitting here waiting for us. I think we're in front of a mega trend, and when you get in front of mega trends, your life changes. So we're here to help educate you along that path.
Excellent. Jason.
Yeah, so I'm a kind of a late bloomer. I was first introduced to Bitcoin back in 2013, 2014 or so, and I said no to something I knew nothing about. And it wasn't until probably 2017 when I started purchasing my first cryptocurrency. I started getting involved in high leverage day trading, where you can make a lot of money, you can lose a lot of money. And I kind of stepped back from the trading aspect once the market kind of took a turn. And I was so fortunate to be introduced to DebtBox day one with Jason Anderson. I was on one of the first Zoom calls. There again, I said no to something I knew nothing about, and watched all my buddies' portfolios grow who got involved. And it was 8 months later, I bought my first license of aluminum for $1,000, and I saw what it did in 2 months, 3 months. And then November last year is when we decided to go all in with DebtBox, and we're full steam ahead, and we're just super excited about everything that's taken place and where we're headed. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for saying hi to everybody. So we have basically had I guess you could almost call it a blessing in disguise. A lot of times it's like, how do you turn lemons and, what do you do with a bunch of lemons? You turn them into lemonade. And had some unforeseen circumstances pop up that put kind of a kibosh for a little while on things. But like I was just saying, blessing in disguise. What has happened with DebtBox since back beginning of August has been a tremendous thing for all of us. Like this is like the blessing of all blessings that we've seen, because a lot of us, obviously, everything that we see, I mean, crypto can be risky. Crypto can be, scary, that kind of thing. And a lot of us, it's just, by faith, you're doing stuff, right? So recently what we had happen was we had a lot of changes come about, and let me see, that's not the one I want this one. All right. A lot of things came about, and there are a lot of new announcements. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go collectively, the three of us are going to walk you through some of this. So you might want to screenshot some of this, take a quick picture of it, and I'll leave a lot of it up throughout this presentation so that you can kind of stay up to speed and make sure you get the questions answered. So the first link I have up there, mynodes.click/debt, is pretty much a training site that I put together to help some people that just made some brief videos, like how do you withdraw tokens, how do you swap, things like that. The mynodes.click/Jason, I took and I got permission from Jason Anderson in a Telegram group. He had made a pretty extensive post. And that's where I'm getting this content that I'm about to go through probably in the next 5 to 8 slides. That's where I got it. And you can read what he had posted. So I did ask permission, but I put it as just all verbiage on there. Okay. Don't go to it now. I need you to pay attention. I took about 5 hours to put this PowerPoint together. So I need your full attention on here. Okay. So gentlemen, first thing, because we're going to go through priority items for people who are currently in debt box to make sure that they're ready to go, because we are at a time crunch. This is the end of the month. They've been talking about this stuff for 30 days. Explain real quick, Jason, what a seed phrase is, mnemonic, and how important it is.
So this is basically the keys to your wallet. So it's important before you start minting, if you haven't done so already, to pull up your 12 seed word phrase that you initially wrote down when you set up your account. And you can view it through the Xnode or the Debt mobile site and also the desktop site. So I highly suggest rewriting your 12 seed word phrase down, maybe at least 2 more times, and also compare it to your original 12 seed word phrase that you wrote when you set up your account. You know, my girlfriend, for example, she wrote her incorrect seed word phrase down 3 different times and was locked out of her account this past year. And it wasn't until 2 weeks later, she found a 4th page where she wrote her 12 seed word phrase down. And instead of gown, she wrote grown. And she was able to recover her 12 seed word phrase and gain access back to her account. So highly suggest you do that multiple times to make sure everything's current, because once we move to L1 and the V2, there will be no debt support, actually, once we move to L1. So it's highly important that you have your 12 seed word phrase written correctly. Otherwise, you could risk.
In V2, you're going to hear us reference that. V2 is version 2 of what we're doing with DebtBox. Okay, so next thing, priority item number 2, mint your remaining licenses to NFTs by 5 p.m. Monday, 11/27. What is today? 11/27 Monday. Terry, how important is this?
Oh, it's so important, friends. Your licenses are gonna cease to mine very, very soon if you have not done this process. You're gonna be in purgatory and you're gonna pay what I call the idiot tax to get it back out. So you don't want to be doing that, right? You want to be the smart people getting in now, making sure you're getting it handled.
So if you haven't minted any your NFTs that are left, you got to do that right now. Next thing, because this has come up, obviously, because a lot of people that took action immediately, like you were supposed to, when they were offering at one time, where if you minted a project to an NFT, you were getting a free token or a free license that you could convert that one to an NFT if it was in the same project. And a lot of people really maximized and multiplied their accounts tenfold, which is just insane. So the other thing that Jason gave away, or the whole debt community gave away, were micros as a reward as well. So all remaining micros, and I'll slow down, make sure you get this, all remaining micros will convert to standards Tuesday, which what's tomorrow, Tuesday, if the project reaches 100 micros. Okay. Now what will happen is, once that happens, you will still have to the end of this month to make sure that gets done. So I would make sure on the 30th, which is the last day of November, probably mid-afternoon, you go in and you do what you need to do to get the last remaining ones, because they don't want to do that. Now, Terry, tell us a little bit about transferring remaining tokens and how important that is.
Yeah, you have to transfer your tokens before the month is over. Don't panic about it today. Instructions will surely come out. Guidance will definitely come out. There'll be video walkthroughs and all that stuff. But you cannot just unplug this week and disappear without having a serious repercussion. So friends, stay plugged in, follow the instructions, make sure you take the steps.
Perfect. Okay, both of you are going to comment on this one. Consider creating additional wallets for security purposes. Now, most of us are not going to probably take immediate action on this, but this is something that most of the guys that have been in crypto for a while explain what this means and why you have to do it, starting with Jason.
Yeah, so this is important moving forward, because it's important that you only keep 25% of your license and tokens. You basically want to disperse your total licenses, NFTs, and tokens into at least 4 different wallets. It just protects yourself in case your account were ever to get hacked. If you have them dispersed between 4 different accounts and one account gets hacked, you're down 25% compared to 100%. So what I personally am doing, I like the Trust Wallet. It's super quick and easy to set up a new wallet with a 12 seed word phrase. It literally takes about 2 minutes. And I know like Terry likes to use MetaMask and some of the other wallets out there. So hopefully that answered part of it.
That's good. Terry?
Yeah. My advice normally would be to stick to wallets that are most native to the ecosystem. But right now there's some uncertainty around that. So again, I would honestly just wait for the guidance to come out. I don't know if V2 is actually on Binance or Polkadot. Someone asked me that the other day, and it was a great question. I couldn't answer it with 100% certainty, but if it is staying on Binance, then I would use the Trust Wallet because that's native to the platform. It's just little room for error.
Okay. Next thing, everybody needs to listen very, very close to this. This is a warning, all caps and in red. Be very cautious of anybody in chat groups or anywhere else that are giving links that you can't verify, or you ask somebody that's in the know to verify, because there are scammers out there that will try to get you to put in your seed words. There are fake email accounts that will come out. Okay. People try to figure this out and they take advantage of people. It's sad that we live in a society that occasionally happens. But you just want to use caution. Okay. So it's literally, think of this as how much caution would you use if you had $1 million in cash in your hand, right? And someone just randomly sent you an email and said, hey, I'm XYZ, send me your seed word phrase and things like that. Like if anybody ever asks me for help, I don't do Zooms with them. I don't do anything that would show me their accounts, none of that stuff. Also understand that in probably 99.99% of the time, nobody from the Telegram channels like Jason or whatever will private message you. People will try to clone accounts of people to try to get to stuff, things like that. So just be very cautious. And again, if it's something that's important or it has to do with anything you think is a potential security breach, just verify it before acting on it. Okay. Verify it through multiple sources before acting on it. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 100%.
Okay. So here's what I'm gonna tell you too is, and I'm gonna actually go back one slide and just leave the warning up before I get into staking. So just covered some basic stuff. We are at the end of the month. You've had 30 days to do this. There is no crying in baseball when it comes to, there is no crying in losing your nodes, or they're not mining because you didn't take the time when we've all been sending out emails. They've been sending out emails. Corporate's been sending out texts. There's been 4 or 5 Telegram groups created. It is what it is. Okay. There are ways. If now, Terry, I think you know the answer to this. JC probably do too. If someone has not minted their license, you said that it does what? Because if they don't make it to the end of the month, go ahead and tell them what you know.
It's basically going in an escrow account, right? A purgatory account, if you will. It's going to be lying there dormant, and you are still going to have to pay the minting fees. And you're also going to pay a sleep at the wheel tax to get it reactivated. So you don't want to find yourself in that situation unless you absolutely are forced to financially, and you can't mint currently, and you want to recover them down the road. At least the option will still exist, but it's better to do it now.
Okay. So we got most of, I think, pretty much everything that we needed to cover of the not so fun stuff, the stuff that you got to do. Gentlemen, let's start our engines and let's start talking about some of the next phases of what we're about to experience and why we're doing this in the first place. Okay. Because a lot of this has been confusing. A lot of us have had to learn it, but anything worth doing, big is going to take a learning curve. You're going to have to do this. I'm going to move us into what we're staking. Staking is not something you have to do now, but staking is something that is about to occur. And it says, what is staking? I looked it up on Google, and Coinbase was the first one. It's staking is a way of earning rewards for holding certain cryptocurrencies. And here's where we're at. Okay. Drum roll, please. I wish I had an air horn right now. I'd blow it, and I would have a little horn. Maybe I'd blow a shofar at this point. So anyhow, check this out. And you guys are going to take your time on this one. Jason made the announcement in one of the private Telegram groups that if you stake, so this is probably the beginning of the year this is going to happen. So we'll just let you know that this is something you're going to be able to look forward to. But if you stake or lock up one DET token, just one, for 12 months on the new V2, the version 2, you will be gifted one NFT per project for the whole year. So if there were 12 new projects that came out, the one DET token that you staked would get you 12 free NFTs. He does have a caveat of you'll have to mint that for $25 like the other one. And you'll see in the tiny green down to the bottom, it says you can stake up to 5 DET tokens per wallet. So you would literally get 5 new NFTs per project for those 5 tokens. Gentlemen, take your time on this one, because this, to me, when I read this, I almost peed my pants, just to be blunt. Go ahead, Jason. Go ahead and take over on that one.
Yeah, I was just completely mind blown when this news came out, because, we've been paying thousands and thousands of dollars, all the way up until this point for these nodes. And, Jason's trying to do everything he can to stabilize the token price and keep the whales out of the ecosystem. And I think this is going to really help our ecosystem. And so, yeah, this is why we're personally setting up more additional trust wallets, because you could simply buy 5 DET tokens today for around $30, $35, and lock those up come once L1 launches. And I mean, if you had 10 wallets set up with 5 DET tokens each, that adds up super quick. So I'm sure people are probably going to have more wallets than that and more tokens to really capitalize and take advantage of it. But I was absolutely mind blown when I saw this.
Absolutely. Terry?
Yeah, this is really exciting, right? Because I want you to picture when there's 100 projects on there. Picture when all of a sudden there might be 500 projects on there, and you're mining 5 per project per wallet for hundreds more licenses. I mean, it's incredible what they're doing, and there's lots of logic behind that. If we want to
elaborate on that, because that's something that probably goes over everybody's head. Like, they don't understand the significance of it, but what it does for us and why they're kind of making this decision now to do it this way versus where we had to buy the licenses down, previously.
Right. So, well, just to make sure, absolutely make sure that there is no government agency that wants to step in and try and claim some kind of sale of a security is taking place. They're completely eliminating that, right? All tokens are originated from mining. And now if there is no license sales, then there is literally no sale from head office to any individual. And so what they're doing, this becomes a stopgap measure to keep the whales out, right? If BlackRock wanted to come over and start trying to take over the DebtBox ecosystem, it's become very impractical for them. It doesn't mean that it can't be done, but we just believe that institutions and whales are not going to go set up 5, 10, 20, individual wallets and start managing all these different wallets and putting 5 tokens in them. And the average retail investor is just plain and simply not going to do it. Only the most committed people in the ecosystem like us are going to do that. And then, of course, next year, what happens when 5 DET coins ends up costing 5,000, 50,000, 500,000 for you to acquire 5 coins? It still means that it's going to be an equal opportunity across the marketplace, but only the original supporters have the opportunity and the foresight to buy them up at $6 right now. Right. And so we are going to get to keep a lot of the whales outside the ecosystem, or as Jay has said many times, right, there will be no new whales. Basically, the original supporters are going to be the whales in the ecosystem, if you will. But outside nefarious agencies who want to manipulate the price are not going to get that ability. And the other thing I wanted to add, I think is really important for people, one other design element that goes into making this pivot is that now we're going to lock up the entire supply of Detcoin, right? Which creates a lot more upward price pressure on it because all of them are locked into a contract. Staking, for simple purposes, friends, is like when you get a term deposit at a bank, for those of us who used to bank decades ago, and you would simply lock up the money in the account for the year, and then they would give you an interest rate because then they knew for sure they could take your money and loan it out to someone else, right? But what happens in that case is you can't access that money. So that means if Detcoin has a big pump in the next 90 days, just talking hypotheticals here, and you decide that you want to cash in, sorry, it's locked up in a contract. There is no ability to do that. You cannot retrieve it. Once it's staked, it's locked up. But what that does is lock up the entire supply in the ecosystem. And as more and more price pressure comes in externally into the ecosystem and there is no selling going on, that's when you hear those rocket ship bubbles, beneath something. And we know what happens after that. So I'll leave it at that, Mike. If you want me to elaborate more, well, I'll stop there.
Well, no, we're going to keep going because this was, and I've seen some people pop this in the chat already, Rachel. VBox holders, those of us who went and bought the hosting VBoxes, will be allowed to stake an additional 20 DET tokens. Like, I don't even know if people can comprehend that one. Is you can, so you literally, if you had a VBox, you'll be able to stake 20 DET tokens and then the other 5 that you had. So that's 25. And you would get 25 NFTs per project. Like, it's just.
Yeah.
I
and
mean,
instead of having 5 different wallets that had
right.
25 DET tokens in it.
Yeah. And Jason, in that same, you'll be able to read it on that .click/Jason page. Towards the bottom, he even mentions about you'll be able to even transfer your VBox to somebody or something along that. I was like, oh my gosh. So here's what I'll tell you. I mean, here's the thing is we had some stupid stuff happen to us. Everybody got basically kicked right in the pants, from what happened last, the beginning of August. But these guys really figured this thing out. And it's going to be I think it's going to be a huge blessing in disguise. So let's keep expanding because now we got to make sure people don't sleep again, that they can't do anything but think about these projects. And Terry, I thought you posted this in our Telegram chat this morning, or I think it was maybe this morning, that there was a thing that Binance put out about real world assets. Like, I'd never heard the term, what do you call that? RWAs, and what they were saying in there. Expand on some of this stuff, like what's happening like in the crypto sphere, because like it or not, crypto's here to stay. Everybody's has to get in on it, and a lot of people are sneaking, the big players are sneaking in with, kind of, they're saying, look over here, and they're in there buying up like crazy. We posted that. Terry and I went through that last week when we on our last Zoom about how much BlackRock owns right now. Talk about real world assets, and then Jason, jump in on this as well.
Yeah, I just think people need to understand. I mean, I always laugh when someone's like, oh, I'm not into that crypto thing. I'm like, listen, you're going to be forced to. I don't know how you can't see the writing on the wall. The adoption curve is twice as fast as the internet and cell phones were. Like, you might as well get in now and profit from it and learn now and become proficient in using it and navigating it while you can. But the long story short, this has been talked about for years in more intellectual crypto circles, is that we are the blockchain is a truth machine. It gives us the ability to have a claim of ownership, and we can cut out intermediaries. It allows us to trust the code. So what's going to happen is that literally everything is going to be tokenized. The easiest explanation of this is this whole idea that you're going to use real estate agents and real estate lawyers, and you're going to go down and register your trust deeds down at the accounts. That is over. That is an idea that its time has come. It's going to be a little while as we transition, but you're going to have literally an NFT of a real estate address. You're going to go in a peer-to-peer transaction, hit that click button, and directly transfer ownership to somebody. It'll be easy to prove and verify on chain. And like that's where we're going. So literally the tokenization of everything is going to be represented on a blockchain, right? And so when we tokenize all of that, which Jason's had the foresight one, and the thing I loved about the Binance research paper, of course, you scroll down to page 28, which I highlighted for people, And right there it says, be on the lookout for a layer 1 blockchain designed specifically and tailored specifically for this use case. And I thought, hey, wait a second, where do I know someone doing that? I also thought it was cool they talked about Centrifuge and Tin Lake because I had previously invested in that long before I heard about DebtBox. I thought they were doing some really interesting stuff. And so this is all coming to fruition, friends. This is the next mega trend, right? Like it really, you're in front of a mega trend, and all you have to do is get in front of a mega trend, and your life is never the same. It happens every time. It happened with Airbnb, Google, Uber, Facebook. You can go back and track all these things and see what happened for anyone who was involved in the early days of those projects and what happens at the end of it. We're in a similar boat here, friends.
They completely, everything's being tokenized. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, and I highly recommend for all the Debt Insider and the BizPro app. If you go back and watch the debt chain video that DebtBox released a couple months ago, even if you have watched it, I highly suggest watching it again. Because I know whenever I listen to something, I always pick up nuggets that I didn't hear for the first time. And when we'll be able to track and see every single transaction that's taken place with all these projects, it's going to be basically like a live stream, from what I understand, where you could go into the Debt mobile app and see every process that's taken place in the natural gas and the black gold, in our real estate projects. So highly recommend that.
Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, Mike, I just wanted to chime in on that, right? Like I mentioned earlier, that blockchain is a truth machine. So this idea of real world tracking of assets, like on the royalty side of the chain, that's going to alter the way the planet does business in a lot of ways, right? Like this is not just about a financial opportunity, and people who study crypto eventually figure this out, that the tech is here to change the world. Right now, we live in a world where there is no honesty, right? This whole idea that we call oil and gas fossil fuels. I mean, it's total bullshit, right? And in the same way we used to, when we wanted to invest, we'd always have to go through these intermediaries and trust them. Wall Street was always in the middle of every transaction somehow, right? And there's never any transparency with double entry accounting, and now with triple entry accounting, which is what is blockchain. We have that now. So this whole idea of revolutionizing this real-time tracking of these things, it redistributes the wealth, but also redistributes the resources, and brings honesty and transparency back to the resources in the marketplace, right? And that has all kinds of repercussions that are going to ripple out over time. So I'll leave it there.
And that's the most important thing, is people want transparency. They want to see what's going on. They want to know that they're actually investing or doing something in the proper way. So let's keep going with that. So we touched on the tokenization. We did, we're talking about the layer, and I'm going to lead you guys into the layer 1 conversation here, because a lot of people don't understand what that means. So I made this graph right here. This is a debt ecosystem thing. Is with the debt ecosystem is you basically have the debt token itself, is you guys would if I'm saying this correctly, that's kind of the utility token. Does that sound right? That's what this would represent. And then everything else is going to flow through that. And if I'm not mistaken, the debt coin will be what everything uses for gas fees, which are the tiny fees when everybody buys, sells, trades, things like that. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And so if you start to look at what these guys have originally stated, and I remember hearing an interview with these guys over a year ago now. The very first interview I heard was with Jason and Jake and a couple other guys, and I think Travis is on there. And it was really remarkable to hear where they'd started, their backgrounds in crypto, what they'd done in the past, and where they were bringing us up to speed. And now to see all this stuff right now it's coming to fruition is just insane. And if you look at and I'm going to blow through some of these slides, that what DET stands for is decentralized, eco-friendly blockchain technology. We just went through the slides backing up that they're using real world assets that can all be verified. That's the whole key here, is there have been people that have gone to Ghana. They've gone to the grow facilities in Colorado. They've gone to the gold mines. They've gone to the aluminum mines. They've seen the multi-million-dollar projects in the commercial real estate. the technology, you can actually see that. I mean, Ghana signed a huge contract with these guys a while back, and the announcements that are going to come out from that are going to probably blow everybody's minds. The Bev distribution, they had a Bev day down there with the facility that they show, and we'll be able to watch the bottles coming off the line as they do them. That's going to be able to track, just like Jason was talking about. They put videos out about the data center mining projects that are connected to the natural gas, the exotic vehicles. I can't wait to pick up an exotic vehicle, hopefully, if this works out like I think it's going to. And then you got the granddaddy of them all, the debt one that's going to go through, which leads us into where this is all. Why are we having to mint these things? Minting is just a term they say that converts a node or a license into an NFT. NFT stands for non-fungible token. Might be something you have to learn. I had to read it and watch videos on it like 10 times to figure out what NFT really meant. And here we are, gentlemen, with the new L1 debt chain, where they're going to be able to speed up transactions. And then we just had this come out. Terry and I talked about this a little bit last week, where the article came out. It was kind of the press release. And if you guys want to expand on the press release and the significance of the Polkadot thing, go ahead real quick and do that.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, that, listen, the original blockchains, the Bitcoins and the Ethereums of the world, are basically like the Atari, right? Polkadot and debt chains like that are basically like the PlayStation 5 or the iPhone 15. In terms of the technology, it's incredibly different. It's a very disturbing mental thing to have conversations with what we call Bitcoin maxis in crypto, who think that there really only is one chain and one chain to rule them all, and there will only ever be one chain. That 3 transactions per second is somehow going to replace the Visa network at 30,000 transactions per second. It's insane. So it's obviously not going to happen, right? Polkadot specializes in interoperability in crypto. Has been a big term for a long time. Basically, that blockchains never had a way to communicate with other blockchains. And so Polkadot is solving that, and they are another chain that has like insane transactions per second at virtually no cost. But they've not specialized in real world assets. Like, that's not what they do, right? And so this Tansi, it's kind of like a sub chain, if you will. This Tansi sub chain just allows players like Debtbox to not have to recreate the whole wheel. And it does give us potentially some access to move certain data points through the Polkadot network. Time will tell if that's how it is actually going to play out, but it's still very, very interesting. So that's exciting. I'll stop there, Jay.
And then with the debt toolbox, just to kind of talk about this a little bit, is basically with the version 2 that they're coming out with. It's, they're going to have debt's going to have the ability, or give the ability to businesses of just about anything you can think of, tokenize their businesses in relatively short periods of time. They've even said as quick as 48 hours through some of the things, and they'll bring certain amount of liquidity to it. And Jason, talk about the significance of a business tokenizing, from why they would do that for their business. They did use example of like WeFunds, because it helps, if I'm not mistaken, this helps build the businesses when they can tokenize, because it's almost like people can go in and instead of buying stock in it, they're buying tokens in it, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And it's basically just allows them to raise more capital to expand and grow. And I'm sure Terry can go more in depth on that. He explains things a lot better than I do.
Well, you're not doing too bad. You've done really well.
You got this. I just also want to know, Mike, I didn't realize you were putting my car up in that Rev picture earlier. I forgot to mention that. But hey, all right.
Yeah, that's cool. But I mean, so basically, it's a benefit to a business, and explain it to me like I'm four. Of if what happens, like if let's say mom and pop pizza place or just a small pizza franchise, and they think it's a good idea. What are they doing, and why is that a good thing for that business?
Well, I mean, we could get into a lot of layers of it, and I'm sure Jason's going to come out and try and really expand on that. To me, in the beginning, I think it's going to be serving the needs of large organizations and large outfits. And the thing that always strikes me is if they want to be transparent with their customer base, they've now created themselves a huge advantage in the marketplace, right? Because now they can leverage this kind of transparency. And if they ever had any inkling of being in crypto, the price tag to build your own blockchain is insane. The amount of specialized expertise, there aren't even enough programmers in crypto out there in existence with the right skill sets to come and build this stuff out. So the idea that you could just plug in and leverage what's already built that someone else has, I mean, I think that's huge.
And you guys, myself included, we've actually seen what they would call the sandbox or the demo version of this. And this is from slides that they'd put together months ago when they were kind of going through and giving like a debt day overview of actually, it's going to be a fairly simple process for someone, a business, to go in and become part of the ecosystem and tokenize. But most importantly, for those of us who are just in this to see what we can get out of it, that kind of thing, we'll be able to easily go in, find projects, find a new one that came out, and basically, potentially buy licenses in them, and potentially obviously buy nodes with them as well. I mean, besides getting the free ones, we'll be able to do that. So let's talk a little bit about, I want to kind of move, we're going to just, let me see what slides I got up next. I'm going to play a video for you guys real quick for everybody, because this was from an interview that Joe Martinez did with Jake Anderson. I pull a 2-minute clip out of here, and I'm going to play it, and let me know if you guys can hear it well.
Projects come on depending on
let me rewind that, right?
So as projects come on, depending on the size of the project, they will have to have X amount of debt token paired on the decentralized exchanges in order to provide their project liquidity. That is all built into the RPF protocol, right?
Correct.
Where that's the funding pools or the liquidity pools are going to be funded automatically. They're never even going to touch the hands of the owner of the project.
Mhm.
Now, the more projects that buy into debt, the more you're going to see the demand for debt grow. So let's say I have a $30 million hotel, right? And that's the project that I want to come forward with. Well, in order to do that, I'm probably going to need almost 10 million of that in the liquidity pool. Now, yesterday in the meeting in the room there, we came up with about 50,
Yeah.
just for the participants in the
rooms,
room.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, these are projects with a wide range of value attached to them, right? So now the playful thing becomes just the sky is the limit. And so if we got 50 million or 50 projects all contributing $1 million each, then in your calculator, put $50 million in there.
So it says, put in 50 million. It says in red, this amount exceeds your available balance, obviously. So you're going to see
sorry.
that. Sorry. But down at the bottom, it says one debt is equal to 228.09 USDT.
Now, what if you had 50 projects contributing 10 million?
What would that be? 500 million?
Mhm.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That would be one debt is equal to $2,124.
Now, here's the dirty little secret, right? The sky's the limit. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of when.
Correct.
As long as we do our job as the community. To put this into perspective, there's not a single project that we have released that's not $100 million project. So if debt rises by a factor of 2x, then every aluminum, every explorer, every increases in value as well.
The rising tide
Raises all ships.
I don't know about you guys, but when I first saw that interview, my head just went like this, because it really brought it together to understand the magnitude of what we're talking about. Most people can't think at this level. Most people, a lot of us that are involved in this, are, a lot of people are 9-to-5ers. You're looking to put a couple $100 together, but then there's people that have been in and getting part of these projects that are dropping multi-7 figures for buying licenses, and have accumulated licenses out the wazoo. I mean, I saw somebody post how many licenses they had in their account, and I don't know what they're going to be able to buy their own, not their own island, probably their own country, if all works out with what they have there. And that video alone has been pretty incredible. I'm going to show you guys how you can actually, let me pull this one up real quick. I think that was what I had. Is you can, and you can do this on your phone. If you have the DebtBox app phone, the phone app, if you go into wallet and you click on swap, and then in the middle one right there, it'll give you the option of what's going to swap for what. And so you could click on the top one and it would give you on the right, it would give you the one you would choose. So you would choose Tether, which is the USDT equivalent. And then the bottom, you would put in debt. So I have the next slide is exactly what it would look like. And when I made this slide months and months ago, I just put in 25 million just to see what would happen if $25 million came into the, ecosystem. And it took it to like $100 some dollars just on the debt token alone right there. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, these guys already have waiting in the wings, if I'm not mistaken. And you guys can tell me what Terry, Jason, of what they have already in the works that's going to come on board with this stuff here shortly. So take it away.
Yeah, and just imagine too, that that last slide that you just showed, that liquidity would be locked up from these projects. So there's no buys or sells taking place on that. And with what debt has released, it's about to release moving forward by staking the debt tokens to earn free nodes. That doesn't include, all of those wallets as well that are staking. And just imagine, as more and more projects join the L1, just think of the momentum that's going to take place when all these other companies are sharing it with everyone that they know. So I think we have some massive moves coming, in my opinion, and some really big momentum. So,
Terry,
Mike, you ready for you got a helmet on? You might need one here. Yeah, I think we're only scratching the surface with this, right? Like, I don't want to be the person who's divulging things that we're not supposed to, but let's suffice to say, like Jake said, there's 50 projects then at that time. Quite a bit of time has elapsed from then, right? Now, there are some projects that are going to be maybe a little reluctant with the bad press that's come out the past few months to wait for maybe something to be put in writing. But the number's north of 50, right? Like Jake just said in the thing, they had 50 just in that room at that time. So imagine then, and you saw how big the projects Jake was talking about, what happens when the numbers get really, really big? But the other thing that people aren't thinking about is what kind of press does get released if the judge just put something in writing in week 8, he put something in writing, what kind of publicity is going to happen with that? I already know that the council is planning to make some major announcements that are going to get a lot of PR. But I'll tell you what else happens that no one's been discussing in the ecosystem, but it's inevitable. When a project moves from the 2,000-ish range by market cap and rockets its way up into the top 50, top 20, top 10, what kind of publicity that generates. When that happens and a new major L1 blockchain moves into the top 10 by market cap, every single YouTuber in crypto is forced to start talking about what is taking place. And what also happens then is when you got wealthy people around the world, institutional investors, big money, big money, wants to start preserving their capital, wants to start speculating with their capital, is looking for a home, a place that's going to protect and preserve the value of their currency. We got fiat currencies all tanking globally. And then we've got this insane volatility that people complain about with Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you got the other altcoins have been kind of underperforming. And then along comes a chain that has royalties pouring into it, that has real world assets attached to it, that has a chain that is built for the task of real world assets. So it's a very specialized chain. And then when investors and speculators and big institutional money starts taking a closer look behind the curtain, and then they realize there's a very small token supply. All the token supply is locked up. All of the asset holders within the ecosystem are getting loans. So they've removed the incentive for anybody to sell. So there is no profit taking. All the tokens are staked up. There's insurance on the chain. I mean, the list of reasons, right? And then you've got royalties pouring in as well. And you've got this transparency that's there. there's a new model being built here for a world reserve currency. Really, no, that's the quiet part out loud that no one wants to talk about, because it's such a big out there goal. But is what's being built. But scrap all that. What happens when the speculators start saying, you know what, that debt chain that just hit 10 billion in market cap and just breached the top 20 or top 10 on market cap, it's probably not done from there. And this is going to have a lot of price stability. If you have price stability, if it becomes the stable coin that only goes up in value, which is exactly what's being engineered here, when you have a stable coin that only goes up in value, you have to realize that the speculation money is going to be obscene. So huge money from people that aren't putting a project on, that aren't involved or affiliated, that aren't on the chain, but are still going to be pouring in and buying debt coins like crazy, applying upward price pressure when the supply is completely locked up, means that the price goes nuclear, right? Like, no one can guarantee that, friends. Like, I don't want you to say that, but I'm just showing you all of the convergence of factors that are going to apply pressure to the price, and it's just becomes math at that point.
It's literally insane to think about. Like, it's hard again to comprehend what we have. And this was actually, I took this screenshot last week that the debt token's a little higher than it is right there. And I pulled this. This is the last slide I have in this PowerPoint, and then we're going to probably take some questions on here. But I wanted to read this to you guys. This was, and let me kind of preface this by saying this first is, when we had the issue happen at the beginning, or debt had the issue happen at the very beginning of August, it really ruffled everybody's feathers. And then you had the company, IX Global, that was the kind of a outside vendor that had the ability to also offer nodes. They took a hit because of it and everything like that. And, you know, when the judge comes out, and you can read this is all publicly disclosed information, when the judge came out and literally said that he may hold the SEC in contempt, that's his words, because of how fraudulent their case was against these guys, how it was completely rushed. There was nothing backing up what they said. It really ruffled everything. You know, it really hurt it damaged the whole ecosystem. And then for these guys to get back to it. So you had a lot of people that absolutely panic sold, and rightfully so. And you're going to, you know, when people are talking about their money and they've worked hard for it, you never want to lose it. But there were a lot of people in India that were part of IX that actually went out and just freaked out, burned the bridges, set fire to everything, kind of thing, in a way to say it. But I'm going to read this, like I said, in case you guys are driving and you want to hear this. So this was Jason responding to some of the negative stuff. And this was at the beginning of October when he wrote this. He said, for everyone in India, the country that will launch many projects on the ecosystem, do not let this opportunity pass you by, as much as some of you are upset with a vendor for other things outside of debt. The time is now. You have 1 billion people to help. I don't care if you invite them to join directly, but I would encourage you not to wait. The future will turn every single doubt upside down. You do not get a second chance. You do not get to see before you buy. This will be a whiplash. That's what you were talking about, Terry, a second ago. I want you to know, in the bottom of my heart, every single node holder will have so much regret from selling early, 2 exclamation points. This is your chance to be involved in something that will change your life and everyone around you in under 12 months. You will calculate every single token you have sold, and you have convinced others to sell. They will not be happy with you. You will not be happy with yourself. The gift is yours to give. The gift is yours to squander. Happy mining. Have a fantastic day. End of PowerPoint. And I mean, that to me is just somebody that's putting it out there saying, I'm doing everything I can. Have a little faith. Hold the line, that kind of thing, you know, and here we are. What say you, gents?
JB, give her.
I mean, I have chills just from you reading that. And it's just, we literally have no idea, in my opinion, you know, how big this is going to go. And I think it's going to happen much quicker than a lot of people are anticipating. And I don't know how I missed that message that you shared. But yeah, man, if Jason's saying under 12 months with everything that's taking place right now and how quick everything is moving forward, I trust him fully, you know, with my entire heart that, you know, this is going to move super quick. And I just recommend that everyone at least learn and take advantage and get the information, you know, before it is too late. There's tons of videos on there on BizPro and the Debt Insider. And I just highly suggest that not only yourself, but others you know, get educated, watch the videos, and plug in with us.
Absolutely. Terry?
Yeah, you know, when you're reading things like 12 months, at this point, at this juncture where we are right now, we're measuring in weeks, right? Like that doesn't mean that we're going to blow past Bitcoin, you know, in a few weeks. But the whiplash that he was talking about, there's going to be a series of whiplashes, and the first one is coming a lot quicker than you can ever imagine, right? V2 is basically a test net for L1 for all practical purposes, and I have every reason to believe we're going to see it this week, and it's going to get really exciting. And I don't know about this; it's just speculation, right? So no one quote me or go out and say that Terry said, and for sure, Jason told Terry, no, let's not play that game. But I have confidence that there's a high probability that some of that liquidity from those L2 projects are about to start hitting the ecosystem soon, right? And then that's very exciting. Even if there's only a portion of what they're coming to the table with, this would still be, you know, earth-shattering. You're going to see a massive whiplash, and it's going to get very exciting, friends. But please, oh my God, do not sell when that happens. There's more whiplashing to come, right? You're going to get more whiplashing than I was going to use the plantation slate. This is not good. They programmed us with the movies, you know what I mean, to see those things. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of whipping going on. So make sure you're holding tight, hold tight, and just keep holding.
Yeah, I just I think my wife's tired of hearing me talk about this. I just actually stopped almost, and she just think, you know, she's like, okay, just you know, whatever, have some fun kind of thing. And my God, we're gonna have some fun. I think we're gonna be all right here. It's pretty amazing. Well, you guys, we've actually been on an hour. Believe it or not, that went by fast. And do you guys have any other comments or anything like that? Because
get your Dream Trips points ready, get your Ronin cards ready. When the whiplash comes, you're gonna enjoy a very different kind of lifestyle. You're gonna have a lot more abundance and time freedom than you had in the past, and just prepare yourselves for it.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say that I thought about a little bit ago and I forgot. Now I remembered. Is back to the staking thing. Jason, I asked you this before because Jason was kind of helping me get educated on crypto, and I'm like, well, what happens if you know, and this is me hypothetically saying this, but this is me trying to be prepared for what's potentially coming, right? Like a lot of people they're not taking the time to get educated, and if all of a sudden you get a windfall of if if Terry said, hey, we got this whiplash happen, well, what if a token went from 0.001 to a penny, or it went to $1? Like that would be huge, right? You would just be like, oh my gosh, you know, I feel like I hit the lotto. If you sold all your tokens at that point, well, what would happen if it went from $1 to $100? You went from I'm a genius to now I'm an idiot. And I was asking Jason, you know, strategically, I was asking him, I'm like, well, I don't want to be that guy that sold the Bitcoin for the pizza. You know, how does that work? How do you, and you were explaining to me the power of the staking, and there's videos on it on what you do is you basically, when you stake these tokens, Jason, explain how you told me about it with the loan. You're getting loans on that money that's potentially going up, correct?
Yeah. So the easiest way to put it is, you know, you stake X amount of tokens and you get a loan for X amount. And then at a later time, you can decide when to settle that loan. So like, let's say Bitcoin, for example, is at $13,000 a token, and you wanted to purchase a vehicle that's, let's say, $50,000. So at that time, you put up $50,000 that you stake, and in return, you get the vehicle. And then at a later time, when you choose, you can basically pay off the loan. So let's say if Bitcoin goes to $50,000, Well, now you get most of your Bitcoin back, plus you've earned profits from the profit of the token value going up. So yeah, that's kind
So
of
basically I keep my asset, but my asset is now paying me because I have a collateralized loan off of a real asset, right? Like I can, if I have if I was to equate this with like rental properties, if I had a $500,000 home, I could go, and that I owned outright, I could go and get a loan off of that, pay it back. But then if the house equity built up to 600,000, I still only paid 500 back. I paid whatever Nate back, but I kept the house, right? So it's still accumulating. And did I mess that up, or is that
No,
correct?
no,
Yeah,
you're going to keep the asset, and basically the price appreciation in the future is basically going to liquidate all the loans down to zero, right? If you were to study, this is being modeled around how really the ultra wealthy play the game, right? The ultra wealthy don't sell their assets ever. They just don't. They'll buy a yacht and take a loan out against the yacht, right? But they're getting loans at tiny fractions of a penny, and they'll buy the helicopter. They'll take a loan out against the helicopter and go buy another, mansion in the Caymans. And then they'll take a loan out against that mansion in the Caymans, and they're literally living off the loans. Like, they're getting loans at basically zero interest, basically anyway. And they just keep leveraging, never selling their assets. And this is how they play the game. And then there is no taxable events when you play this game. None of that, all that stuff goes away. You are using money from a loan, right? So there's a lot baked into the cake and of why it's being set up this way. But I just wanted to touch on that.
Well, good luck for me sleeping tonight. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just like, man, oh man, the things you can do with this if it all pans out like we think it might, just could be mind-boggling.
It's been hard on sleep all year long. If you're one who's gone deep enough down the rabbit hole to really understand what's going on here, yeah, you should be losing some sleep. You might have a drinking problem, but hey, blame the council. I don't know. What are you going to do?
Right. Blame the council. Excellent.
We can take a few questions if you want, Mike, or if you want to sign out.
Well, we'll probably wind it down. I know we've been on here an hour. What did you guys think? Everybody that's been watching here, we had a good turnout on here. We had, I think we still got right now about 160 people watching, which is awesome. So thank you so much for live in the middle of the afternoon with really no notice besides a few people out there. It's crazy. I might need my glasses. So after when did...
No, the answer is
I know it'll be the projects. It won't be debt. Like if you own a debt license, you own one. If you don't, you don't at this point.
All of the new projects, all of the new
New ones,
ecosystem projects. And by the way, a little birdie told me there's lots of fire waiting in the wings there too. So you're going to be excited about what you're mining.
Nice. Will our debt wallets automatically convert over to the new system? Yes. Yeah. So you're not going to right now, just understand that they're not going to do anything dumb to hurt anybody or whatever. Everything's going to be easily transitioned over. So we'll be good. Excellent. And maybe guys, just, you might have to watch this video again just to get up to speed, because we did cover a lot and I did add a lot into here, and appreciate you guys jumping on. It was fantastic. I always learn a lot. That's why I like to do these interviews. Yeah, keep it going. Address some of the questions. Let me see. Okay. Will debt, y'all be crazy.
Yeah. And if you guys need any one-on-one help, get with Mike Healy and he can connect us, whether it's minting help or.
No. You're not getting a hold of me. I'm not your guy. I'm going to show you where to go. I'm going to pull it up real quick. And
the space is tough to navigate.
You want to go to this first one right here. If you need some help, there's some videos on here. And here's what I will tell you. That top link, the mynodes.click/debt, when some of this new stuff does come out, I will update videos on there as I know them. But at the bottom of that page, if you need one-on-one help, you can schedule something with Jason. Because this is not my forte. This is me getting up to speed on all this stuff. right now. So it's you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, so let me just double check here. I might have way too many. Yeah, if you reach, and I thank you for everybody that's been answering questions for people in the chat. I appreciate you guys being little helpers on here, but
Yeah,
excellent. So
Jason had a question about the micros and gifts that may have disappeared. So tomorrow, Tuesday, which basically the UTC cycle starts at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time this afternoon. They did state that Tuesday is when those nodes should convert back over,
okay,
along with the micros as well.
And
very
those
cool.
will be minted.
What's that, Terry? Sorry.
Those will also need to be minted.
Yes, yes. So we have basically, you just got to be paying attention until this end of this month. Get your final things done. You know, we'll probably all put some notifications out, some text, things like that, and you know, try to keep everybody up to speed. If we have to do an impromptu one of these again, we will. You know, so it's good. So I think I'm good. I'm hungry now. So I was kind of nervous to get on here and make sure I had everything set up because I know people are counting on us. And I think it went without a hitch. You guys were fantastic as usual. I expected nothing less. So that was fantastic. Any last words, gentlemen?
No, thanks a lot for putting it together, Mike. And I think we should do some more of these. I think there's interest and there's always lots happening, and you know, people want to stay informed and plugged in. So, and there's always lots to discuss.
Yeah, perfect. Jason?
Yeah, we're just here for everyone. So feel free to reach out if we can help assist with anything. And like I said, just try to stay plugged in and keep the momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I appreciate everybody saying a big thanks. I know we'll get a lot of feedback back off of this, and it's appreciated. We you know, we're just people, we're just dudes, and we like to hear good stuff too. And this is recorded on the YouTube link that you already have. This exact one, it'll just flip over here in about 10 minutes to where it's the recordings there. You can share it with people if they weren't able to make it because they're at work or something like that. You know, so feel free to make sure you get people to take a look at it. So gentlemen, thank you so much for being on here. Appreciate it.
Thank
Stay
you.
plugged in, friends.
Appreciate it. All right. Let me end the stream. You guys can stay right there if you want for just a second.